Um, so, two examples of how this was changed. One was there was a lot of talk going into the Build Back Better. And in fact, it was in Biden's first American Jobs Plan, his first basically climate action program, to have mandated renewable portfolio standard, which would require power utilities to reduce their emissions or be fined. And they were proposing 4% a year in that proposal. And by the time it came out the other end of Build Back Better, it was clean energy standard, incentives, no punishment if you don't meet the carbon reduction emissions. And they included as clean energy a lot of things that aren't, like nuclear power, like biogas and other biofuels, like waste incinerators, like fossil fuels with carbon capture and storage attached to it. But the basic problem was they switched from basically a mandated program and a plan to get there for reducing carbon emissions to incentives to try to coax all these different corporations with all their separate decisions to make it happen. Another example is the Civilian Climate Corps. Now, the old Civilian Conservation Corps from the New Deal, that was an independent public agency that planned the projects around the country in a coordinated way and then directly hired people to make those projects happen. But what we're getting with the Civilian Conservation Corps is they privatized it. They're going to run it through AmeriCorps, which will put out grant, requests for proposals, and private entities will, put in their proposals, and the AmeriCorps will, give the grants out, but it won't be coordinated. And, there's some labor standards, but it's just not clear that the benefits will go to the people that need it most, which is one of the purposes of that Civilian Climate Corps, particularly because you have to have a whole army of, middle-class bureaucrats handling all this paperwork, dealing with the grants, giving out the money, monitoring it. It's just adds a whole nother layer of expense. And I will give the Sunrise Movement credit. They are about the only group out there that got more money by the time we got to Build Back Better from the original Biden American Jobs Plan. They got a raise from $15 billion to $45 billion for this Civilian Climate Corps. But they've made no criticism of the fact that this is not like the old Civilian Conservation Corps, where it's a government agency and public employees, that it's been privatized. So that's why it's important that we now, I think, talk about an eco-socialist Green New Deal, so we don't get mixed up with what the Democrats are doing. And then, what happened to their non-binding Green New Deal resolution was Pelosi never let them vote on it in the House. Now, McConnell, when he was the leader, did want the Democrats to go on the record about a Green New Deal because the Republicans were, saying a whole lot of crazy stuff about the Green New Deal. It wasn't really true, but, the Democrats wanted to avoid that label. So the Democrats called it a trick. Schumer and Markey called this a trick by McConnell. So when the vote came up, McConnell and Schumer said, vote abstain. And all the nice little, obedient Democrats did, except 4 of them voted with the Republicans no on this watered down non-binding resolution. Now, and we can give credit to Sunrise and AOC. The Green New Deal was a term of debate early in the Democratic presidential primaries. But in the end, only Bernie Sanders really had a serious program. His was actually $16.3 trillion over 10 years. That compares to the budget we came up with, I'll talk about in a little bit, that is basically $41 trillion, counting the Economic Bill of Rights, or $27.8 trillion, or $0.5 trillion for the energy transformation. And he had a big role for public power. So that was to the good. But all the other Democrats, they were putting out less than $1 trillion over 10 years in public money. And some of them said it would stimulate a few trillion in private investment, but they were not serious plans. And most of them ran away from it, like Joe Biden himself did when Trump attacked the Green New Deal in debates, and Joe Biden said, "It's not my plan." And so the Green New Deal has been pretty much abandoned by all but the most the left-wing fringe of the Democrats, basically the Squad and a few others. So we want to emphasize this eco-socialist approach that emphasizes public ownership and democratic planning to make sure we can do a coordinated transition to clean energy, and that the benefits from all this activity are equitably shared.